evening and welcome. It's the LFC Daytrippers. It's Friday night, and that can only mean one thing. It's the Friday podcast. The show is brought to you in partnership with Colossus Bets. Sign up and use the LFCDT as a referral code. You'll find the link and some of the descriptions in the show description here with ourselves. It's just a new, I'll give a quick update on this. It's a new partnership we've gone into. It's a betting website, but it's a bit of fun. You know, look, if you don't gamble, if you're not into it, don't do it. If you do it responsibly and all that. But it's something, it's like community betting. It's something we can all enjoy together. And we'll run through some of the first week's bets that the lads have come up with as we're going through the show. But if it's betting is something that you're into, give it a go. The more people that sign up, bigger community, it becomes a bit more of a laugh. So we've got that admin out of the way, which is great. Like I said, we'll come back to it as the night goes on. Tonight, I'm your host, Keith Plunker, and I'm joined by regular on this show, Mr. Joe Wainman. Joe, how are you?
Yeah, good, mate. Really looking forward to the show and a good weekend of football.
Indeed, everyone knows Joe from All Leeds TV and know that he's a friend of our show, and this is a big one for Joe this week, and we will be looking in depth at Chelsea versus Leeds and getting his thoughts on that and his thoughts on the managers and everything else to go with that game, which will be great. We're also joined again by Lee Gunner, who needs no introduction, an Arsenal fan. Lee, we will be talking about the North London derby.
Yeah, that could get a bit messy. Yeah, I'm looking forward to a weekend of football apart from that game.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I reckon
appreciate it.
I could be a bit more pro Arsenal than you on this one, but however, we'll wait and see. And I'm delighted to be joined by Mr. Paul Nolan. Paul made his debut the other night with Gav. Great to have you back, Paul.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
Excellent. So, the Friday forecast, it's a show where we just look ahead to the weekend's fixtures in the Premier League and give our predictions. We'll be focusing on 4 main games and then just briefly going through the rest. So we'll get started and we'll sort of do this chronologically. So the first one we have is Man United and West Ham at home to Man U. And lads, I started to pick this game as one that we should talk about because it's an intriguing one, you know, with the weekend fixtures that's coming up. We've got Man U on the back of a stinker there the other night. Ole, he goes under pressure and he tends to pull something out. But West Ham, it's a bit of a sticky one. It's Saturday night, Saturday evening, 5:30. Lee, I'll start with you on this. What do you make of this game? Do you think there's a potential for a West Ham win here, or is there an upset on the cards with Man U coming out and pulling the 3 points?
David Moyes has actually done very well since he's been there. He got the job end of December last year, and they wanted him out after 2 games of this season, and he's had a wonderful turnaround. It's been kind of crazy. The teams that they've played, like back to back, has been ridiculous. Like they've played all the top teams apart from United so far, and they're still above us in the league. They're still above United in the league, I think. And they're doing all right. Obviously, he used to manage them as well, so that adds an extra bit of spice to it. But the thing with Man United is they're a weird team. It's not like the Man Uniteds of old when I was growing up. You know, they're an up and down team right now. And you can't, like, if I was a betting man, which I'm not, I wouldn't be putting any money on Man United because one week they look fantastic. The next week they just look like a bunch of strangers running around. You know, so this is going to be really interesting. West Ham, I haven't seen their fit list of players or what players are out injured. So I'm assuming Antonio is going to be fit and raring to go. He's the danger man if he plays because that guy is a handful. Like he is a real handful. And the way Harry Maguire's been playing recently, it's not great, is it? But I don't know. This is a tough game, man. It's a tough game. They're at home as well, West Ham. Are fans allowed back? I think fans were allowed in the ground now as well, aren't they?
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be that many, which is good for West Ham because I think the no fans has really benefited them, hasn't it?
Normally they're sticking flags in the centre circle and stuff in the executive boxes, but they're actually kind of crazy. But yeah, this is going to be a tough game. I think this has got draw written all over it, though, if I'm honest. I'm going to go with a draw for this game. Do you want my prediction now?
No, we'll come back to it. We'll come back to it in a few minutes. Okay. That's no problem at all. Joe, I'll come to you on this one. West Ham v United. How do you think this one goes?
I think West Ham could get a positive result. I do. I think Ollie's due one of his, like we said, they're so inconsistent. One of his up and down. Obviously losing to PSG. I think they could lose. For me, it's do or die time for Ollie a little bit, because they've obviously got West Ham. They then play. They're in the Champions League. Could possibly get knocked out of the Champions League. They've then got City, which I don't see them winning. And it was funny. I was on something the other day, and someone made a comment and say the powers that be above always come out and say, "Oh, we've got a plan with this manager," and then they sack them. And then this morning, Ed Woodward's come out and says, "Oh, we've got a plan with Ollie for the next few windows." And I was thinking, "Oh, is this vote of confidence time ahead of these next few fixtures?" So I think he needs to get a win, because they could arguably get knocked out of the Champions League, and then I think City beat them, and then we play them, and I think we'll beat them as well. So, no, but I do think, look, West Ham look different level. I think they're fifth. To be fair, I think they're fifth in the division. I'm not sure if Antonio is fit, but with Jared Bowen, Fornells, Ben Rama's some player as well, and he's yet to really get going. And when he does, there'll be some player. And Hilaire's been doing all right as well. I think of late. You can't tell that by his face, obviously, when he scores goals. I've never seen someone as angry in my life after scoring a goal. But no, I do think West Ham can get a positive result in this one, and I think it would be huge and quite big for Ollie if they were to lose this one, if I'm honest.
Yeah, Paul, it's something that Joe touched on there, is West Ham being in fifth. I'm just looking at their recent form. I'll run through it quickly. They've beaten Wolves, they got beaten by Everton, then they bet Leicester, drew with Spurs, drew with City, beaten by us, bet Fulham, Sheffield United and Aston Villa. It's not a bad little run they're on. Are we overlooking West Ham? I still think of them as relegation fodder, but are we, is it, all joking aside, are United the underdogs in this?
It's a tough one, isn't it? I mean, I would say United would have been the underdogs until the fans were getting let back in the stadium, because I do actually think there's something to that, because once the West Ham fans are back in, like, their home form is just going to collapse, because there are certain teams that have done really well through the lockdown conditions, and there's certain players that have been doing well through lockdown conditions. West Ham are definitely one of them, because they've not felt the pressure from their own fans and their expectations. But also, Michail Antonio has probably been the form player in the Premier League through lockdown conditions since, February, March, whenever we started, we did the restart, basically. But I definitely think it's a tough one to call this, because again, it very much depends on what United turn up. And really, they are kind of getting consistent in that it's one stinker, one half decent performance. So they've had the stinker in midweek against PSG, so they'll probably do all right on the weekend. But one thing I will absolutely predict is that there will be at least one Man United penalty, because there always is.
That is true, yeah. So, let's play bingo. What minute did they get their first penalty?
The Bruno Fernandes drinking game is off and running.
No, it's a bit of a running joke at the moment, isn't it, with Man U and some of the decisions that go their way. Leo touched on Harry Maguire. Is he's not exactly a form centre back at the moment, is he? And as the leader of their team, I think it's in an indictment of how they play and how they sort of do their business at the moment. Do we see what United show up here, lads? Is it going to be the Ole back against the wall, saving the job, doing another Lazarus job, or is there? I'll get you that predictions. Basically, is what I'm trying to get to. Lee, let's come to you. What's your predictions on this one?
Somebody's just put in your chat that Antonio's apparently out injured, so that
changes predictions all over the place.
Well, I still think it's got draw written all over it, because Man United can't defend properly, and West Ham, even if they're 3-0 down, they can still come back. We've seen that against Tottenham. So I think this is going to be a cracking game. I think it's going to be end to end. I think they both have a go, but I can see it ending up 2-2.
2-2. Very good. Very good. Joe, what do you think?
Listen, I never back United for a win, so I'm going 2-1 West Ham, mate. 2-1 West Ham.
Not starting now. That's what we like. That's what we like to see. Paul, what about yourself?
I'm going to go for an absolute epic shithouse Manchester United 1-0 win with a last-minute penalty from Bruno Fernandes.
Troy's taking penalty because he misses the first two and they let him take it. I think West Ham win this one, boys. I think this is a 3-1 to West Ham. I just think these half fives, the West Ham fans are an awful shower in not getting behind their team, but the fact that 2,000 of them, I'm assuming it's 2,000 that are allowed in. Is it lay down in London?
Yeah, 2,000.
It's they won't be running amok after not being in for a year, you know. So I think they're going to be supporting the team. I think West Ham get this one over the line fairly handy. Before we move on, this is one of the games that is in the syndicate for the Colossus Bets this week. So just to give you an idea what the lads have gone with on this, and I don't know who's picked these. I know Gav has been involved and a few of the listeners that signed up. We've got a 1-1 draw, we've got a 2-1 Man U win and a 3-1 Man U win. So nobody's as confident as myself and Joe about West Ham on this one, but we'll see how it goes. Right, before we move on to another big one, we'll quickly run over a couple of the other games. So City v Fulham, lads. We won't delve too much into it. What score did City win by? Joe?
4-0.
Good man. Lee?
5-1.
Very good. Giving Fulham a 1. I like that. Paul?
I'm going to go a little more positive on Fulham. I'm going to go for 2-0 to City.
Very good, very good. I'm going to go for 5-0, and I think it'll be one of these 5-0s by about 60 minutes, and then they take their foot off the gas. I think Fulham are... They got a good win last week, but, geez, I think they're a bit turgid. I think the yo-yo team wrote all over them, especially with Scotty Parker, I think, at the helm there. He doesn't inspire them much confidence. Some people argue that they have a decent team there at Fulham, but I don't know. Some good players, but I can't see
I just love the streets memes that keep coming out after he does one of his fourth matches. Absolutely brilliant, man.
I know. It's again, this lockdown stuff, people loads of time on their hands. This is what I love. This is the content I love during lockdowns. A lot of people in the chats have sort of been throwing their predictions in. Some people think West Ham can beat United, some people think United, but they all have a close. With the City Fulham game, you've got 4-0, 5-0, 3-1, so 5-0. I think people are expecting, as Red Steve says, a cricket score in that one, but look, we'll wait. Oh, and Dico has 7-0. These are the sort of predictions that I'm all about. We usually go with these with Liverpool, but however, the lads are getting in early. We'll move on to Brighton versus Southampton Monday night. Again, we won't delve too much into this one, but Lee, give us your prediction on that one.
This should be a really good game.
Yeah.
Both have a go at each other, both attack, which has got probably the kiss of death 0-0. But I'm gonna go 3-2 to Southampton.
3-2, I like that. Joe?
I'll switch it the other way. 3-2 Brighton.
And Paul?
It's another tough one because I can see why Joe's gone for Brighton, because I feel like they're about due a win, and I've still got mental scars after last weekend and how they kind of gave us nightmares. I feel like Aaron Connolly, if he starts tomorrow, is going to get a goal, so I'm going to go for 1-0 Brighton.
1-0. Interesting. It does have the makings of a good game, that one. I reckon that could be a 2-2 draw. I think it's... I went for the United game as a focus, but I was tossing up with that one as well because it's a South Coast derby, isn't it? And it's one that I think could have two good footballing teams, and I think it's an interesting one. Some of the lads in the chat there, we've Jericho's going for the 3-0 Southampton. I think it'll be closer than that. I think it'll be a closer game than that, but we'll wait and see. So we'll move on, lads, to our next game that we're going to look at, and this is, Joe, this is where you come to the fore. We've got Chelsea versus Leeds. What I'm going to do on this, I'm going to tell you, this is on the Colossus Bets as well. I'm going to give you the predictions on this before we get our predictions, just to get your blood boiling. So we've got a 2-1 win to Chelsea. We've got a 2-0 to Chelsea, but someone went for an other draw, which means above 2-2. So nobody's given Leeds the win on that. Joe, we'll start with you on this. How do you think this game is going to go? How are you feeling?
Yes, I'm confident. I'm confident going into every game because I have Bielsa managing my football club. Yeah, and I know that we will give anyone a go. The thing that really rams home the confidence is Bielsa's record against Lampard, and all but for 45 minutes worth of football where Leeds crumbled just due to inexperience. He schooled him. He never really had an answer for what Bielsa put in front of him. I can only say what I've seen. I think I still have question marks over Lampard. People will call me crazy because they're doing well. But listen, the money he's spent, the individuals he's got, 9 times out of 10, they're going to beat the lesser teams in the division. Someone said to me earlier on something we did, Chelsea have still not beaten anyone above 13th in the league. Yeah. Whenever they've come up against decent opposition, Southampton, 3-3, lost to Liverpool, 0-0 with Man United, obviously the Tottenham game. So he's been found wanting in them big games. Listen, we'll create. We know that. Leeds United create chances. Lee will tell you that. Everton will tell you that. Liverpool will tell you that. We will create. It's not going... But at the same time, obviously, Chelsea, you're going to get opportunities as well. I think an interesting point is to see whether or not he goes with Giroud after his 4 goals midweek. I think if he does, that could actually quite benefit Leeds United, maybe not from a set-piece perspective, but in terms of the pressing that Tammy might be asked to do. I think they have to have special focus on Calvin Phillips. We've seen Everton just didn't bother with him at all, and he absolutely dominated the game. I thought it was quite naive, which is mad to think Ancelotti's been so long in the game. He never really adapted it and think, right, we need to do something about this kid. He left it. So I'll be interested to see what Fat Frank does in. I'll be interested to see what he does in that respect. There's that little bit of needle there. Obviously, the rivalry with Leeds United goes all the way back to the 1970 FA Cup final. We don't get an anywhere. It's added spice that it's him in charge as well. Can't get away with the man. And I'm just really confident. I just don't want to lose. That's the main thing. I just don't want to lose this game of football. And I think we will create. We've just got to be clinical. This is the thing. Like Patrick Bamford, he's only got 1 less shot on target than Dominic Calvert-Lewin, but half the amount of goals. And that's the difference in quality that we're talking about, So he has to have his shooting boots on because he will get opportunities. Rafinha looks special. Robin Koch's injured, I believe. He's missed. It's not come out yet, but he's not been seen training, which would be disappointing. Means moving around people at the back. But it might mean we see Rodrigo. And I think the combination of Rodrigo, Rafinha, Click, they'll cause anyone problems in this division, genuinely. I know they're a lesser quality than the opposition, but we will create and we will cause them problems. We've just got to be clinical. And if we are, then I think we can come away with, with a positive result. Yeah. So
if Koch is out, then who's going in there? Is it going to be Llorente? Is he coming in there? Or?
He's just back, but Bielsa prefers the players to play under 23s game. He won't throw someone straight in. He expects them to play under 23s game just because of the pace that we play at. It's a lot to expect him to just throw him in at his debut. I think what will happen is Ayling will move into centre-back, Dallas will move to right-back, and then Rodrigo will come in midfield in place of Dallas. So, and obviously Dallas going at right-back. Yeah.
Rafinha has started to make his mark. A lot of people talking about him. How are the Leeds fans taking to him? Are you excited about what he's going to bring to that team?
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. He looks special. Like, when he came on against Villa, he played one of the best passes I've ever seen, right? I don't know if anyone got to see it, but it was amazing, right? And it was like, wow, how's he just cut out everyone on the pitch to get through to Harrison? Harrison should score. If he scores, it's getting talked about for ages. He came on against Palace and absolutely left Van Aanholt for dead. I don't even know what they called the trick, but it was on the touchline, and the kids these days will have a name for it. But it was just amazing, and he left Van Aanholt in a heap, and you could just see, and we all wanted him to start over Costa. He starts over Costa, and I thought he was fantastic against Everton, to be fair. He was pretty special and someone that excites me. And we only paid, 17 million for him. So it's a bit of a snip, to be fair.
Yeah, it's a very interesting signing. You know, it's come out of left wing, really. You know what I mean? Like it's come out of nowhere, but it looks like an exciting addition to the Leeds team. Pace will win you games, I think. Especially
I think the key thing is as well, and it's a testament to Leeds United. He left Rennes, and Rennes were playing Champions League football, you know, and he chose to come to Leeds United. So it shows the how well the club's doing at this moment in time, bringing in these individuals like Rodrigo, like Rafinha. Obviously, having Bielsa is a massive help. We've got a decent project going, and I genuinely feel after a couple of seasons, man, we'll be knocking on the door of Europe, and that's the truth. I genuinely believe that.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Leo, come to you on this game. Chelsea v Leeds. How do you see this one going? Do you think there's any surprises, any shocks?
Well, I'm not as positive as the Leeds United fan down there next to me. I'm sorry, mate. I'm going to have to burst your bubble. I really am. Right? I know Chelsea haven't beaten anyone up the top and all of that, but I think the only way you win this game is if they put Kepa in goal. Like, real talk. Yeah, they're a really well-drilled unit. Yeah, really well-drilled. And they took on a very good Tottenham team last weekend and didn't even really look like conceding. Yeah, and Tottenham probably could have won the game if they'd been a bit more clinical, especially in the first half. Second half, they totally dominated Tottenham. And we know how Leeds are going to play. We know they're going to come to Stamford Bridge. They're going to go all for it. And like you said, it's about the quality levels. You've got Bamford up front. I think it was Calvert-Lewin, you said, had similar chances. I like Bamford. I think Bamford's a good player. Mm-hmm. But he's not that elite. He's not that Werner. Yeah, he's not that... Even Giroud. I mean, Giroud's hat-trick in the week was one of the best hat-tricks you're ever going to see. Unbelievable, 3 plus the penalty. And I think that's where Chelsea will tie you down and wear you down, is the fact that they've got quality everywhere, man. Mm-hmm. Yeah, literally everywhere. Even their bench, they can put a reserve team out like they did in the week and go away to Sevilla and slap 4 past them. That is not easy. Sevilla are champions of the Europa League, aren't they? Yeah. You know? So that was a mad result for them. And I think that, although I don't think Lampard's an elite manager and I don't think he's going to be there for long, I think they'll eventually get rid of him to get an elite manager. I do see him coming out a comfortable win in this game, real talk. And I know you've had some great results against us. Is that even a great result these days? Yeah. You had a good result nearly up at Anfield opening day. You should have probably won that game. You should have got at least a draw. Man City, you got a draw. I just think Chelsea, they're gonna clean up 3 points quite comfortably.
Really? I'm not having it, Lee. I'm disappointed in you, man. I really am. Honestly, I'm disappointed in you. Like, just looking at some of the performance. I mean, the performance against City was absolutely immense. Performance against Liverpool, Arsenal. If we're being totally honest, had we had our shooting boots, we could have won that game 3-3. Yeah.
This is the thing, though. Like when you played Liverpool, that was the first game of the season, so that was probably the best time to play them. When you played Man City still now ain't even half decent. They've had a real poor start to the season. That's not taking anything away from fair. We don't get results against these teams anyway, so I can't sit and mug off a draw at the against Man City. We lose every time we play them. But I just feel like the way when you've played them games, it's been at the right time. Yeah, whereas I feel this is the wrong time. Yeah, I think Chelsea are on and upward at the moment. And I think with Werner, with Havertz, Ziyech, what a player he is. And then I'd stick Giroud up front if I'm them, because Tammy Abraham, for somebody so tall, is useless in the air. And I feel like that's an area where they can dominate you if they put
100% set pieces. We're so poor at them. Zuma's scored a couple as well. So any corners,
Thiago Silva as well. He's a big lad and he scores goals. So if I was Lampard, I'd go with Gerrard up front. And like you said, corners, free kicks, get him straight on them, straight on the head.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting one, and
it's good Keith, you've got my back, man. You're a Bielsa.
I'm a huge Bielsa fan.
Come on.
I'll back you up on that, Joe. Don't worry about that. Don't worry. I'll be backing you on that when the score predictions come. Paul, what do you see this one going?
I think this comes down to one of two things. And one of them is whether or not Thiago Silva starts for Chelsea, because when they start Thiago in their back four or back five or however they line up, their defence is normally a lot tighter, a lot more organised, and they look a lot less likely to ship goals. When they've got Zuma and Rudiger and, you know, their other kind of defensive options in and Thiago's not in the team, okay, Edouard Mendy has had a good start to life at Chelsea as a goalkeeper, but you know it's not hard really to improve on what was there previously, quite frankly, you know, as Lee kind of alluded to before. But if Thiago starts, I can see it being a bit of a long day for Leeds, because you know that guy has got every trick in the book lined up, and to be honest with you, even at his age, what is he now, 36, 35, something like that? I mean, all right, he had a bit of a shaky start, but he worked it out very, very quickly and has done very, very good things in that Chelsea back line. I'm actually really glad we didn't get to face him when we played them at Stamford Bridge, because they were still trying to figure out where the pieces all fit together, and I think we got them on a very, very good day. The other thing, I think Leeds have a chance as long as Bielsa has a scout up a tree overlooking Chelsea's training ground. And if that's the case, then I think Leeds may well have a chance, because they've got a little bit of an inside look. Other than that, Chelsea's home form, Chelsea's, you know, as I say, their back line, Werner and Ziyech and Abraham are starting to fire. I personally think he doesn't go Francois, as I like to call him. I don't think he goes with Giroud up front. I think he goes with Abraham, and I think he goes with Werner, because I think he's looking at rotation. And I think Giroud has done his yearly thing of putting himself in the shop window with a major tournament, because he's not really a club player. He's a professional for France, and then he'll take whatever club team he can play for up to a major tournament. Other than that, you know, he'll just sit on the bench, basically. So I can see it being fairly unchanged for Chelsea. I can see Leeds definitely posing the threat. I could see them maybe even nicking one, but ultimately I see Chelsea being victorious on this one. Sorry to our Leeds supporting friend underneath me.
Mate. Don't worry, I just take it all in. So then when we beat them, I can remind everyone about what he's saying.
Yeah. More than happy to be reminded on that one, mate. Trust me, I've got no love for Chelsea, though.
Yeah, same. Absolutely the same.
I have to say, I'm a huge Bielsa fan. I've been on Joe's show speaking about Bielsa. I think Leeds, the big games are the games that suit Leeds. Now, the problem I see with Chelsea is they're on a very good run, but they're not playing anybody. Even the 4-0 win against Sevilla, I think it was a lot of changes to both teams. I think it was not a true reflection, I suppose. And the teams they're beating in the league are, you know, lower half of the league at the moment team. So I think that it's a false not confidence, because they will be confident, but I think their results and the hype is maybe a bit premature with Chelsea. But I'm going to get his predictions now. Lee, I'll start with you.
I think Leeds will score. Bamford used to play for this lot as well, didn't he, Chelsea?
Yeah, true.
Academy, didn't he? Yeah. Then went on loan everywhere.
Yeah.
Apart from Vitesse Arnhem, believe it or not. Everyone.
We've had a few of them lads that have been there, to be fair, when we're in the Championship.
But I'm going to go, cover your ears, mate. I'm going to go 3-1 Chelsea.
3-1. Joe.
Sorry.
It's all right, man. It's all right. I seen someone say 4-0 earlier. I was like, what? Look, I think it could have shades of the Liverpool game. I know they're really good defensively, but I think both teams will go at each other. So for that, I think we're on the opposite end. I'm going to go 3-2 Leeds. It's some game if it was that.
Yeah. Why not? You know, it's what we're in this for, isn't it? A bit of entertainment. Paul, what about yourself?
2-1 to Chelsea for me. I think Leeds get on the score sheet. I think they have plenty of chances, but ultimately they will succumb to Abis Francois and his crew.
I'm going with 3-1 to Leeds.
Get up there, my man.
3-1 Leeds.
He knows what side his bread's buttered on, doesn't he?
Yeah. No, do you know what? Genuinely, I think Chelsea are the faults there. You know, they're getting these results. I think Leeds will go in as an underdog. Bielsa will have them sort of chasing everything down. And there's one thing that this Chelsea team I don't think really like is being hassled and harried. And I think that's where Leeds will get at them. I'm going for a 3-1 win for Leeds. Fuck it, why not?
My man.
Let's see. We went through the Colossus bets for that one. Another couple of games that we won't delve too much into. We've got Burnley against Everton. Lads, give us your predictions on this one. Paul, I'll start with you. Burnley against the Ev.
The prediction for me is absolutely the cure for insomnia. Honestly, the two of the most boring teams you could ever wish to watch. I mean, Everton were okay for about 5 minutes, and they're the type of team that, unfortunately, if they lose one of their starting 11, it all falls apart for them. So I would be honestly surprised if there's any goals in this whatsoever. I think it's a 0-0. Look no over it, especially if Nick Pope starts in goal again for Burnley.
Yeah, it's Everton. They've played and started off. They were crowning themselves the league champs after about 4 games. Have gone on an absolute stinker since then, haven't they? And Burnley, Jesus, they've only got about 3 goals in 2020, so I can't see this one being an exciting one. Lee, what about yourself? How do you see this one?
It's going to be a bit boring, isn't it? Yeah, Burnley. It's about time they got relegated. Let's just be honest. Just get back in the Championship. See you later. Yeah. Every time I've had a ticket to go Burnley away, I've given it away. It just sounds dull, doesn't it? Like Burnley. I'm sorry to any Burnley fans watching.
No offence.
I'm definitely not welcoming Burnley now, that's for sure. But I think Everton will win 1-0.
1-0 to Everton. Yeah, interesting. 1-0. And Joe?
Yeah, I'm the same as Lee. Well, you guys, I don't see there being many goals, but I do think Everton will have too much for Burnley, so 1-0 as well.
Interesting. Another game we'll quickly look at, lads, is West Brom at home to Palace. Now, this is on the Colossus Bets syndicate as well. I'll let you know how that one's gone. So we've got a 2-1 to West Brom, we've got a 2-0 to Palace, and a 2-1 to Palace. Lee, how do you see this one?
Palace are doing all right. I say that, and they're sitting below us. They were doing all right. This should be kind of an open game because West Brom do like to have a go. I mean, they're not the greatest team, are they? And I do think that they'll probably go back down. Palace are a weird team because, like I said, they're doing all right. But then I remembered they're 15th. But their results this season, they beat Man United 3-0 at Old Trafford. First game of the season, I think that was. And they've had some good results along the way. But they're a weird team. When I look at Wilfried Zaha, I just look at him and I think, why the hype? I don't get it. Like, one week you look like Ronaldinho. The next week you're dead. Like, it's just boring, bruv. So, I don't know, man. I'm just going to sit on the fence and get splinters. I'm going 1-0.
1-0. Winner. Paul?
I'm going to go for a West Brom win. And mostly because they've been showing a little bit of promise in front of goal recently. And their goalkeeper is absolutely stepping up at the moment. So I think if they've got any hope of staying up, which, let's be honest, they probably don't. But if they want to make it a fight, you've got to have a goalkeeper who is in the kind of form that guy's in at the moment. And for me, as Lee's alluded to, Crystal Palace are just like a complete enigma, and they can turn up and look fantastic and otherwise look absolutely ordinary. So for me, I think West Brom definitely need a win. So for me, I think it's going to be it's going to be a West Brom win, 1-0 for me.
Interesting stuff. Joe, did I get your take on this one?
No, but I think West Brom might get it as well, to be fair, if I'm being totally honest. I'm going to go 2-1 West Brom.
Good stuff. We'll move on now to the next game we're going to look at, and that is the North London Derby. So, Lee, I'll start with you.
Thanks for having me on, lads. I'll get me Oh, mate. This football club my forehead is bigger than Arsenal's future. It's mad. This club, I swear, mate, it stresses me. My blood pressure is just up here every time we play. We are so frustrating to watch. We're so frustrated. The manager, bro, don't even get me started on him. Yeah, it's just I can't see us winning. I genuinely can't. I can't see any single way where we win this football match, based on what I've witnessed for 10 games, which is the most boring football I've ever seen as an Arsenal fan, with players that just look like they can't be bothered. A manager that looks out of his depth, spends half of his time on his iPad on the touchline. It's just like his micromanaging of our players is a disgrace. He keeps picking players that he obviously rates that nobody else does, and not picking players that are better than them based on performances in other competitions. So it's going to be a crazy one. Then I look at what Jose's done at Tottenham, and he got the job, I think, 4 games before Arteta got the job at our place. Take the FA Cup out. Listen, Wigan won an FA Cup. Yeah, where are they now? Yeah, so let's not use that as a yardstick to look at league form. They're mad. They're so good at the moment, Tottenham. And the masterstroke he's done is put Harry Kane in CM or attacking midfield, because his football intelligence is better than most footballers in the world. He's so good, yeah, with his footballing IQ. And then when you've got runners like Son and Bergwijn and Bale and Lucas, he's always going to pick the right ball because he's that good. Plus, he'll chip in. And the problem we've got is if Arteta plays his son at right back again this weekend, Son's going to finish him. Yeah, it will literally finish him. That'll be curtains. That will end Hector Bellerin's footballing career, because Son, I've said this before, if he wasn't South Korean, he'd be lauded as one of the best players in the world. Yeah, and I think it's a disgrace that he ain't, because he is absolutely quality. And then when you add Kane into that, their defence is better, their midfield, and Ndombele's been superb recently. And we're not sure whether Thomas Partey's going to make it. He trained today apparently, but I'm not convinced. And even if he does, is he 100% fit? And that could set him back another month. Granit Xhaka, I mean, Granit Xhaka's Albanian for dog shit footballer. Excuse my French, sorry. But it is, he's just rubbish. One of the worst footballers I've ever seen in my life. And the problem you have, and I know I'm waffling, so I'll stop in a minute. But if we go to White Hart Lane with the same philosophy as we went to Old Trafford, yeah, they'll bypass our press just like that. Yeah, they'll bypass that because they're so much better than Man United. They got better footballers in midfield than Man United, and they'll just walk straight past us. And then when you're getting the ball to Son, to Kane, to Bergwijn, they've got the capabilities to score out of anything. Whether it's a tight game, whether it's an open game, they can do you all ends up. And if we sit back, I fear for us. I really do. More so than if we have a go at them. Because if we sit back, they're so smart in and around penalty boxes. You give Kane a sniff, it's in the back of the net. Son, chances are he'll probably win a penalty. So I don't know. And then if you give them a free kick outside the box, they got free kick takers. They're just so good. And I hate saying it. I love their manager, though. I love Jose, man. Like, even though he's their manager, I am so gutted he's their manager. I can't hate him. I'd love him to be Arsenal manager. And unfortunately, I can't see us winning.
It's very interesting that you love Jose. I mean, I think Jose, his teams are dour and, negative, this and that. But he seems to be have a different outlook at Spurs. And I don't know, he's a lot more mellow, I think, and a lot more laid back and less prickly than he usually is. And it just seems to go.
I think that helps having good strikers and good attacking players as well. Because, like you said, everyone thinks that he's a boring defensive manager. He had the strike force already there, so he can afford to be a bit more expansive now because he knows that his defense is good anyway, but he's got bangers up front. Like, Harry Kane is world class, world class striker, but he's also a world class footballer. Yeah, technically he's not the best, but mentally, like with his IQ and stuff like that, he's such a smart footballer. He knows when to hold the ball a little bit longer. He knows when to peel off. He knows when to ping a first time pass. Defensively, he's very good as well. And I think a big problem we're going to have is if we try and man mark him. If we go and man mark him, that's going to leave gaps everywhere for Son and for everyone else. Because, and this is why I worry for us, because if we have a go at him, yes, we can get done on the break, but at least we've had a go. I want us to go and have a go rather than sit on the edge of our box, bore the life out of everyone, and then they beat us 1-0 or 2-0 or 3-0. Do you know what I mean? Like against Aston Villa, just sat back at home. Like, I think if we have a go and it's an end-to-end game and we lose by the odd goal, I'll be cool with that. But Sadly, I think it's going to be embarrassing.
How do you see the Tapas Pulis setting you up? What's he going to go with?
He'll go 5 at the back or 3 at the back, whichever way you want to call it. For me, it's 5. It's defensive. It's 5. He'll play a Son Bellerin at right back. He'll go with David Luiz. He'll go with Gabriel. Probably Tierney as the third centre back. Maybe Marie though. He might go with Pablo Marie because he played the other night and scored. So possibly him. If he does go with him, he'll put Tierney left wing back. And then midfield, if Partey makes it, he'll probably put El Neni next to him, which is probably our best pairing, believe it or not. And then he'll go Saka, Aubameyang, and Lacazette.
No Nketiah in that one, no.
Hopefully not.
Doesn't
see that kid play again. Take him back to Leeds. He's just not good at all, mate. He's not good.
Yeah, it's one of the things, isn't it, about Arteta, as you keep mentioning about his son playing at right back. You know, those big links with PSG trying to sign Bellerin, and he didn't do it. He's just seemed to have regressed over the last year.
Well, that's what winds me up with him. It's like he comes out, the manager, and says, "Oh, I'll pick players based on what they do in training." Well, you're clearly not. And if you're thinking they're doing something good in training, then what are you watching, mate? Because like I don't get it. When he's stinking out the whole of the Emirates every week with Lacazette, Eddie Nketiah, Granit Xhaka, Kolasinac, Mustafi, Luiz, like every single one of them can leave. Yeah, they're rubbish. And then you've got players like Maitland-Niles, Reece Nelson, SALAH. We don't even know how good that geezer is. We've done 30 million quid on him. And we've actually got a better pairing in the under-23s than we have in the first team defensively. That's mad. Yeah, it's mad. And it just frustrates the life out of me because he begged Granit Xhaka to stay. He was leaving. He was going to Hertha Berlin or Werder Bremen, somewhere like that.
Yeah.
PSG wanted Bellerin on loan. He begged him to stay. Mustafi offered a new deal. And it's like, people want me to trust this process. No, thank you. No, thank you. Yeah, the process is relegation battle. And I'm not subscribing to that, my friend. So, I'm not having him win, lose or draw. I still want him gone.
Yeah, no, it's a very interesting take, you know, because some fans think it's nearly like the Emperor's new clothes. He can do no wrong, and they forgive him for anything. That Unai Emery didn't get the same sort of leeway, you know, and it's just very interesting to see how
one more thing I want to say. Sorry to cut you off. One more thing I want to say, just saying about the clothes and stuff like that. I can't stand that he walks around in jeans and a jumper. Yeah, that's not the Arsenal way. The Arsenal way is you wear a suit on match day. Yeah. George Graham, Arsene Wenger, Unai Emery. This geezer walking around thinking he's up and down a catwalk. Yeah. Like, it's not a fashion parade. You're managing the club. The one other thing that winds me up as well is the way they hand out the captain's armband. It frustrates the life out of me. Lacazette the other night had the armband. He comes off the pitch and gives it to Mustafi. Like, Mustafi. Then Mustafi gets substituted and he gives it to Pablo Marie, who must have played, I think, maybe 160 minutes for this club. Now he was captain. It's like the tradition, the class and everything has gone from this football club and has done for a long time. And it just winds me up. Like, just seeing little things. I know that sounds finicky and like... I've seen George Graham, Wenger, Unai Emery, shirt and tie on match day. Yeah? You're representing one of the biggest clubs in world football. Yeah? And you're walking around in Gucci trainers thinking you're a chap. Well, sorry, mate. Like, so after time, you can't even be bothered to have a shave. Like, that wind me up. But you're representing a £1 billion football club. Yeah? And you're standing there with a jumper and a pair of trainers. It just frustrates me, mate. Maybe I'm old school. I don't know.
No, you know what? I know what you mean there. It wouldn't maybe bother me to that extent. You've got it's Pep Guardiola light, isn't it? And it's just you know, Pep in the summer always wears his cargo pants and his t-shirts and looks the part. You know, like he's gone for a few beers afterwards. Sometimes you just want that bit of professionalism and just to look, you know what I mean? If you're a young coach and you get a big job, let's make no bounds about it. You get a big job, one of the top jobs in Europe.
Yeah.
You know, look professional, act professional.
Yeah. But, the only time he acted professional or acts professional is in press conferences. And like the thing is, his press conferences have changed as well now. They've gone from saying it as it is and saying what we would think as fans and say as fans to talking in riddles worse than Wenger. It's like, it's just ridiculous. I knew before he got the job he'd be out of his depth. That's why I didn't want him. Yeah, and he's starting to look out of his depth. Like, FA Cup didn't fool me. It fooled a lot of people. It didn't fool me, and our fans, as a majority, have gone back to now blaming the players every week. Well, where was this hype in the summer when you were lauding up an FA Cup win, saying he's improved everyone? You know, everyone the summer before wanted the owners to get their checkbook out. So they peddled this "we care the you" rubbish. This summer, everyone zipped it because trust the process was more in fashion. And it's like, that's why I get the ump. When I look at Liverpool, you all walked out of your stadium on 77 minutes because the prices were going up to 77 quid. You all walked out. 14, 15,000 did a walkout. We don't even have 14, 15,000 in the stadium at 77 minutes. They're all trying to get their lattes and bagels on the way home to the train station.
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous, man. And it's not the club I started supporting 30 odd years ago.
No, but you know what? It's a great point, because I think a lot of fans do see, you know, you've got a club like Arsenal, you've got Liverpool, Leeds, big club as well. You have fans that are traditionally fans that have been there for years, and then you've got the fair weather fans and the Johnny come latelys, and you know, for every fan that'll walk out on 77 minutes, you'll have 10 that'll go in and take their place. So it's a hard balancing act, isn't it, to get? But Arsenal seem to be in a bit of a never-ending cycle where it's just bad luck after bad luck after bad luck. The board don't seem to have any foresight in any direction. The owner, I don't think better than Stan Kroenke, because he just doesn't seem to have any interest in Arsenal. His focus is all on the American side and his LA Rams and whatever else he has going on. So it just seems a mess from top to bottom there. So we'll give you a break now and see what the lads do for this one. Joe, not London Derby.
I think Arteta's pretty dapper. I just want to put that out.
His hair the noise made, the bastard.
Gucci trainers are big in Leeds, are they, mate? Yeah.
Bloody hell, I couldn't afford a pair of them, mate, man. They get me Nikes, that's about it. But listen, Arsenal were so poor against Leeds. I'm quite surprised just how poor they were. I thought Arteta, especially after the FA Cup win, I thought they'd kick on and do bits this season. But after hearing what Lee said on a couple of weeks back, to be honest, I've been tuning into Lee quite a lot, because he's not shy for coming forward, do you know what I mean? And that's what I like, to say it as you see it, you know. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I think this game will be pretty tight. I think they could possibly cancel each other out a little bit. You know, I think Arsenal will play very defensive, won't they? Let's be honest. That's all he knows. I think, like in our game, no, just off point, I think the red card helped Arsenal because it enabled Arteta to actually go to his 5 at the back, because he came out with a sort of different formation against us, like he was appeasing the fans a little bit, playing Aubameyang through the middle, etc., as opposed to out wide. And but I think in this game he will go, and I think for that it'll be quite tight, personally. I think it could be 0-0, even one apiece, maybe. I do. But, I mean, what's going to happen? I guess back to Lee. I know he's already run it, but does he, if he was to lose this game in a bad way, is there any chance he goes, or is that just not on the cards?
They won't sack him. The reason they won't sack him is because they've marketed the guy so relentlessly and forced it straight down our throats that he is the next Pep. Yeah, that's how they've peddled him out to everyone. On their website, when journalists ask them questions in like the open gallery, the Zoom calls and stuff, there's certain questions that get asked to them that go into a video that will go out on the internet. Arsenal take certain bits out that don't fit all of that narrative. Yeah, so the way they're trying to dress it up and manipulate it, they will not sack him, not yet, because I think if they sack him, it basically means they've messed it up again. And not only that, they'd have to go and get an elite manager, because if they come with somebody who's up and coming again and try and tell us to trust another process, well, it'll tell them to take a hike. So that's why they're going to keep him, and it's to the detriment of this football club, because I think by 26th of December, Boxing Day, we're getting hammered by Chelsea, and I think everyone will be ruined. Christmas will be ruined. We've got Southampton, Everton, Burnley between this game and Chelsea. So we've got some tough games coming up, and by Christmas, he's done.
Yeah, it's very interesting, very interesting. Paul, I want to get your take on this one because we'll move on to Liverpool now in a sec and we'll get you onto that. But lads, give us your predictions for this one. Lee?
3-1 Tottenham, sadly.
Joe?
I'll go 1-1.
Paul?
I'm going to go 2-1 to Arsenal.
Ooh.
Yeah,
because Spurs will always go back to type, and I'm a bit gutted you didn't give me time there because I had both clubs lined up to be hammered. Strap yourselves in, kids, very quickly. Basically, Arsenal, that group of players needed breaking up a year ago. They're not a good set of players that are supposed to be together, right? They bring out the worst in one another as far as I'm concerned. Supporting a club where the squad and the culture brings the best out in players, you can recognise it in others when that group of players is effectively toxic for one another. And that Arsenal squad, as far as I'm concerned, is toxic for one another. And that's why they're passing the armband round like a hot potato. And that's why Arteta can't get on top of it, because the culture from the top down at Arsenal is unfortunately toxic. One thing I will also say, moving on, because Spurs fans aren't safe either, so basically don't get too comfortable. I am sick to the back teeth of hearing from the BBC and other journalists and professional Jose Mourinho supporters who write for newspapers thinking that it's their year. It's not. They are also massively overrated. And Kane is actually, I don't know whether you've seen this, it just popped up on my FPL. Kane is actually an injury doubt for tomorrow. And if he doesn't make it, I think Arsenal have a chance. And I'm just being very contrarian. I think both teams aren't very good. And I think they're both massively overrated. And I totally agree with Lee. I think he is the Aldi middle aisle Pep Guardiola Arteta. And quite frankly, I think he's massively overrated. But I also think Spurs are massively overrated as well. We'll see how that goes when we play them in a few weeks and people can replay my comments if we don't get a good result against them. But ultimately, I think both teams are not as advertised, I'm afraid.
Yeah. No, do you know what? You're dead right there, Paul, because I agree with you. I think it's a 2-1 to Arsenal, this. I think Mourinho plays against big rivals and big games like as if he's the underdog, and for some reason he could go out and mill someone, but then he'll stink it out in a game he should win, which they should win on the form this one. So yeah, I think 2-1 to Arsenal could be the way this one goes, too much to Leeds and minds. But the Colossus Bets lads have 3-1 Spurs, 3-0 Spurs on 1-1. So, the chat there, everyone's saying that they reckon Spurs an easy enough win. But I don't know, watch this space. Could be a tricky one. We'll move quickly on to the last game we're going to look at. That's Liverpool against Wolves. And Paul, let's start you off on this one. How do you think this goes?
I think this is going to be a tough game. I think Wolves will obviously feel like they've got something to prove off the back of what's happened to Raul Jimenez. I mean, obviously everybody wishes him all the best. Horrific injury, the type of thing you don't want to see. And he's an incredible player. And hopefully, he comes back and he's the same kind of player he's been up to now, because I've really enjoyed watching him. I think they feel like they've got another point to prove because we've taken their fourth choice striker and turned him into an absolute worldie in Jota. And, I think in general, Wolves are, they're starting to show signs that they are the team that finished 7th the last 2 seasons and are looking similar to do it again. They always give us a hard game. I think the likes of Neto are playing well. Podence is playing well. I think they've got, a really good balance, and, maybe the Jimenez thing will maybe motivate them to try and get a result for him rather than, obviously, going into it under normal circumstances. For us, on the Liverpool side of things, I'm seeing signs that they reckon Trent might play on Saturday, which would be fantastic to welcome him back. Be nice to actually welcome a player back into the team for once rather than losing them, because, at the moment, it's like, I've seen Liverpool scouts hanging around outside, like, high schools and primary schools trying to get players ready for the weekend, quite frankly. And, losing Alisson as well, which meant, like, we had the goalkeeping equivalent of a young Ronan Keating in goal on Tuesday against Ajax. But he did fantastically. And, to me, it's like Adrian's Liverpool career is over. That's the nail in the coffin. Like, they clearly don't trust him anymore. So, for me, Liverpool, Kelleher starts. I think hopefully Trent starts. That will make a massive impact. I think, obviously, Matip played on Tuesday, so hopefully that'll be enough rest for him. Because normally he goes straight into a hyperbaric chamber and we wrap him in bubble wrap because he normally can't play 2 games in a week. I think
usually the bubble wrap injures him, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, exactly, mate. Yeah, exactly. So, again, it's just about patching people up and finding people who are going to play. But I do feel very positive about this one, even though Wolves do give us really, really tough games and they play fantastic football. And obviously, you can't forget about the likes of Adama Traore as well, who seems to be finding a little bit of a run of form at the moment. I do think there's going to be goals in this one because obviously we're at bare bones at the back to an extent. And Wolves, they have more than one trick up their sleeves, even though they are going to miss Raul Jimenez. So for me, I think there's going to be goals in it. I think Snow Salah is due for an appearance. As soon as the ball turns, does the ball turn yellow this weekend? I hope it does, because when the ball turns yellow, Salah just turns into a different player. He turns into a world-class player.
Had the yellow one. I think he's slow off the mark with the yellow ball, but we'll wait and see.
We'll wait and see. But I think we're gonna do well. I think ultimately it will be another win, another way to hopefully keep up the pressure. And with obviously my prediction of Arsenal beating Spurs, I think it will hopefully be a glorious return to the top of the table.
Very, very true. Very true. Joe, how do you see this one going? Do you think Liverpool have enough, or do you think Wolves can pull off a shock? And will the loss of Jimenez really affect how Wolves can play this one?
Yeah, I think the loss of Jimenez is huge, personally. They've got the kid, is it Fabio Silva? They bought for a lot of money. I think it'd be interesting to see how Wolves set up, because I know they switched it up against Arsenal, and they normally play with the 5 at the back, but they switched it up, I believe. I think if I'm Nuno, I'm switching it back to that 5 at the back against this Liverpool side, just going forward. It'd be interesting to see if he does that. But yeah, listen, I said a couple of weeks back that Leicester would beat Liverpool. It was the perfect time for it and all that sort of stuff. And Liverpool came out and absolutely trounced them. So for that, I just can't go against them regardless of injuries. And I think they'll have too much for this Wolves side. And Jimenez is a massive, massive loss for them. So yeah, I think Liverpool will win the game.
Yeah. Lee, with regards to Jimenez, obviously the injury comes against your lot. It's a bad one. It is a bad one. Do you think, not that the players will feel sorry for themselves, but when you lose a talisman like Raul Jimenez, he was their main forward, he's their sort of main striker. They lose him to a horrific injury like that. Is there a worry that they feel sorry for themselves, or can you see a reaction coming from Wolves players like Fabio Silva? He's only a young lad. I don't think he'll play. I think they'll just throw loads of them little quick fuckers up front, like Neto and Traore and Podence. How did they play after they lost them against your lot?
They actually played really well against us. Yeah. It didn't help that we were garbage, but they actually played really well. Adama Traore was doing these fancy dans on halfway. What's it called? The one where Zidane used to do it all the time.
Yeah, pirouettes.
Yeah, like a little pirouette. He stand on the board. He done one around Granit Xhaka on the halfway line and left him for dead, mate. Yeah, he was on it in that game, Adama, and he always turns up in these big games. So I'd be careful of him, that's for sure. How do you stop the guy? Like you can't stop him. If he fancies it, he's having it. But I think that against us, they just play one style of football to me. It's like get it out to their wingers, and they're so quick and tricky. I mean, the goal that they scored, the second goal, what a finish. He scooped it up over Gabriel and volleyed it straight in the bottom corner. I mean, what a goal. Yeah. But I see them against you lot doing exactly the same. I don't think they're going to feel sorry for themselves. I think it'll be a case of let's do it for Jimenez. I think that's how the rest of the season's going to be for them now. It's going to be like, we've lost our main boy up front. And it was horrific, man. Like, he might not ever play football again. Do you know what I'm saying?
The reality is, yeah.
Ryan Mason, was it Ryan Mason?
Ryan Mason, yeah.
So, and he never played again. So, listen, I wish him and his family well. And it was mad. Absolutely tragic, mate. And, David Luiz, I don't think should have stayed on the pitch, by the way. No. Yeah, I think it's stupid. But you could see in his eyes, he was so upset. I didn't know, because I was doing a watch-along and I had it on mute. So everyone, and I'm sitting there thinking, bro, this has been going on for like 6 minutes now. Yeah. Then it got to 10, 11 minutes and they start panning away and you're thinking, blimey. And then when you found out, boy, but I think Liverpool, with so many players out injured, they've done brilliant. Yeah, that just shows how good the philosophy is at that football club. It doesn't matter how many players you've got out injured, the style stays the same. Yeah, and then players that come in and they'll slot straight into that style. We used to have that in the League Cup when we'd play our kids in the League Cup under Wenger. You've got that now with Klopp, and I still think you're favourites for the title. I don't agree that Tottenham are overrated. I think they've got a proper manager now, and I think that he's got a glint in his eye this season, and it's going to be out of maybe them two. Maybe Man City can get themselves back into it, but for this game, I do think it'll be a draw.
Well, while we're here, give us your prediction.
1-1.
1-1. Interesting. Joe?
I'm going to go 3-1 Liverpool.
3-1. Good man. That's it. Reciprocating my 3-1. Like that. Paul?
Yeah, I think 3-1 to Liverpool.
Yeah, I think 3-1 myself. I think it's interesting. You know, we've been decimated by injuries. If Kelleher plays in goal, you know, he's only a young lad still. But if we've Trent back, if we've Matip, Fabinho, and we've Robbo at the back, it's a good solid back four in front of him. And then whoever you can put into midfield, Gino and Alden could probably play 6 games a week at this stage, and it doesn't seem to affect him. If you get Henderson in there, that's solid enough. And I think Liverpool could well go. I think Riz might have spoke about this on his show last night. I think we could see Jota, Firmino, Salah and Mane and really try to blitz them. So yeah, I think Liverpool come in 3-1.
Must be nice being a Liverpool fan.
Yeah, at the moment, I'm not gonna lie, we've had worse days, but you know, it is what it is.
Do you know what I would say, man? You've got to get money on Jota getting like a brace or something like that. I know some people don't gamble, but I'll be having a little bit of money on.
If he scores, do you think he'll celebrate?
No, because they never celebrate because they're waiting for it to get played chalked off. You know what I mean? So I think they have an out. You know, unless
have you got fans in the ground as well?
Yeah.
First time, yeah.
So it'll be interesting. You know, I don't know what was it like in the Europa League with 2,000 fans in at Arsenal. Did it make a difference?
I had it on mute because of copyright, obviously, when I do my watch alongside. But when I watched the highlights back on BT Sport, they made quite a bit of noise. They made more noise than the 60,000 that normally turn up. So, yeah, we said at the end, it's more like, let's just go to the Emirates and entertain clients. It's not, let's go and play football. So, yeah, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. Pretty good noise.
Excellent. Well, we'll see how it goes. Before we wrap it up, lads, a usual feature on this is we get used to pick 3 anytime goal scorers over the weekend. So, Paul, I'll start with you. 3 players who you think can score.
Diogo Jota. I'm going to go for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, even though I did say it was going to be a 0-0. That's one of those things where you go, I fancy him to score, and then you go, oh shit, I actually just just got to give me a prediction. And I'm actually going to go for Patrick Bamford as well.
Lovely.
I've got to get back in Joe's good books. He still hasn't.
That's it, Joe. What about yourself? Give me 3.
Jota, Bamford, and Bowen.
For West Ham.
Random one. Yeah, it's a random one.
And Lee, 3
I'm not going to get back in your good books, Joe. I'm going to go Werner.
Abraham.
Werner, Bruno Fernandes, or Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes is the correct pronunciation, I've been told. And we will go with Son.
Excellent
stuff. Listen, we'll leave it there just before we finish it up. Another show for Colossus Bets. If you are, like I said, if you are into gambling and signing up, it's a bit of fun, it's a bit of crack. Just go on there, use the LFCDT as the referral code when you sign up. It helps us. You know, a lot of people ask, how can we help you out? You help the sponsors, and that helps us in turn. So if anyone's into that sort of thing, do sign up. And the more that get into it, more of a community vibe it gets, and it'll grow in itself. So look, I just want to thank the lads for coming on. Lee, thanks very much for joining us tonight.
Oh, thanks for having me on again, mate. Appreciate it. I'm sure
we'll have you back soon. Joe, I don't know whether I should thank you. You're on here every week. You're on more than I am. But
cheers, man.
Thanks for joining us. It's great to have you. I think you're very popular at this stage. Half a Liverpool, half a Leeds fan at this stage. And Paul, thanks very much for joining us as well tonight.
You're welcome, mate. Anytime.
No problem at all. Right, we've been the LFC Daytrippers plus guests. This has been your Friday forecast, and we'll see you all again soon.